Good morning.
We are Josie Burton
And Silmy Noir.
and we warmly welcome you all to our crash course of our seminar, Middle Passages, which is the journey of slave ships from West Africa to the Americas via the Atlantic.
In this class, we have examined and discussed in detail the aspects of slavery that continue to make an impact in our world today. The United States in particular still witnesses its effects through different forms of slavery, which include human trafficking, as shown by exhibits we visited in the Underground Railroad Freedom Center in Cincinnati, mass incarceration, as explained by the talk of Jose Was, and the difficulty in finding oneself in country, as explained by Bell Hooks and Sadia Hartman.
Watching films like 12 Years a Slave and Sankofa have provided emotional context and deeper understanding of the plights of slavery and the toll that it took on human lives. Reading and discussing texts like Saltwater Slavery, Middle Passage, the economic, political, and social impact of the Atlantic slave trade on Africa, and A Narrative of the Life and Adventures of Venture, a Native of Africa, provides historical context of the journey made across the Atlantic and the processes of slave trade and the effects that the slave trade had on Africa as a whole.
We have also learned how this history is connected to the Richmond and Earlham community by reading text by Tom Ham and by visiting the Levi Coffin House. We have talked about implementing practices of equality and peace in our own lives first in order to make a difference in our community. Earlham's principles and practices have been created to keep these values in mind.
This class matters because it links forms of slavery with current events that are happening today, including mass incarceration, racial inequality, and human trafficking. The emotional and physical forms of slavery in the past are important to analyze today in order to understand what is happening in the world.
I think an Earlham education prepares students for the real world and also allows them to get connected to the community in general. We are talking and learning about the Middle Passages, which is something that happened so long ago. We also talk about it as it relates to the Richmond and Earlham community in general, so as to understand this new environment that we are living in as first years and to try and think of college as home.
I'm Silmy Noir and I approve of this message.
I'm Josie Burton and I approve this message.